Okay guys, hear me out. This video is going to be about Pokemon versus Bitcoin. Both of which, mind you, I have and own in my possession. You understand? So we're going to be talking about which one holds value better, which one is better for you to own, and which one appreciates or depreciates more. This is a very controversial topic because both are and can be looked at like stock, right? If you want to be completely transparent, we could start out by saying the value of Bitcoin and the value of Pokemon are both very similar. So let me give you a little backstory, and then we'll get into which one is worth more. I personally have both and am an investor in Bitcoin and Pokemon. Now, it sounds kind of ridiculous to say investor in Pokemon, right? And I get that. I understand it can sound a little bit weird to someone who hasn't ever gotten into Pokemon before. But if this ended up on your feed, I'm assuming, someone close to you, maybe your brother or your daughter, or your children, or a friend brought up how they bought a Pokemon card. The only thing about what I'm about to say that has me bringing up the idea of Bitcoin and Pokemon is the value structure included in both. Now, let's take a card, a Pokemon card. You can look at that as a physical, tangible asset similar to gold. What do they do with Bitcoin? Bitcoin is looked at like a digital asset similar to gold that it hedges inflation. What do I mean by that? Well, if I had $2,000 in the year 2005 and I bought $2,000 worth of gold, that gold in 2026 would be worth $10,000, right? So the same amount of money that I put towards the gold in 2005 is not worth the same amount of money that it is today. So that's what I mean by a tangible physical asset. Now, why am I bringing up gold? Because in a way, I guess you can find the parallels between gold and Pokemon. For instance, there are certain Pokemon that in the early 2000s went for roughly a couple $100s. Now those same Pokemon are selling for a couple $1,000s. One really good example of this is when Logan Paul, a very popular YouTuber and WWE wrestler, just sold his Pikachu Illustrator for a crazy amount of money. And what you could ask yourself, right? You could look at these numbers and you can, start to begin to see why certain people are starting to follow Pokemon and get into Pokemon. And I'm finding it relatable to Bitcoin because there's this excitement brewing, and it's like a bubble, almost like real estate also, where everyone was starting to get into real estate in the early 2000s. And then, you have to ask yourself this: where's the bubble? When is it going to pop? Is it going to pop? And that's the thing that I don't know the answer to. And that's why I'm getting on here and talking to you guys about this, because, that's something that I don't think any of us know the answer to be quite honest with you. Is the Pokemon bubble going to pop? We just saw a huge pop of Bitcoin. It goes up and down, up and down. That market is absolutely volatile. And you can see the same parallels that you do with Bitcoin in Pokemon. So I ask you again, what is a greater asset, Bitcoin or Pokemon? And are there any relatable features that you can tie parallels into? It's a really great question, one that I don't necessarily have all of the answers to, but maybe let me know in the comments down below what you guys think. Are there a lot of parallels and similarities from Bitcoin to Pokemon? Do you guys see Bitcoin hitting all-time highs that Pokemon are going to hit? Do you guys see Pokemon and Bitcoin going to the moon? Do you guys see Pokemon and Bitcoin crashing and burning? Like, another thing about Bitcoin that is similar to Pokemon that makes me want to have this conversation is the value that people place on it, right? Like, Bitcoin and Pokemon are similar to gold in that there's a demand for it and a finite market to it. Certain Pokemon cards from 1999 to the 2010s, even now they're getting released. They're released in a very finite number. So the value of those is based on how many there are in the world, similar to Bitcoin and similar to gold. So these are the parallels that I'm talking about that I want to share with you guys and get your opinions on. These are things that are, in the hub of wealth and generational collective. This is how people are collecting nowadays. This is very exciting stuff, and I want to get the conversation started, and I want to bring awareness to this because I talk to my parents, for instance, about Pokemon, and they laugh at me. They laugh. And the same with Bitcoin. I talk to my parents about Bitcoin, and what do? They laugh. So obviously I go to my friends and I'm like, hey, do you guys know about like Bitcoin, and do you guys know about Pokemon? And I start talking about Pokemon to friends, and we start relating to each other about Pokemon. But then also I start talking about, different things related to Bitcoin with other friends, and we start having this great conversation about Bitcoin. My point is, start having the conversation. If you're interested in something, get in front of the people who are also interested about it and talk to them. Bring up these sort of questions and ideas. I find it very interesting, right? That, for instance, something like this, like a simple Pokemon, can be worth upwards of $250,000, upwards of millions of dollars. We talked about Logan Paul, right, in this conversation before, and he just sold an Illustrator card, I believe, for, I think it sold for around upwards of $10 million. So this is a market that we cannot let stay silent, right? This is a big market. I'm seeing videos pop up on my For You page daily of people cashing out hundreds of thousands of dollars on different Pokemon cards every day. So I urge you, right, to think Bitcoin and Pokemon, which one is more volatile, right? Which one is smarter to hold in the long run? Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think in terms of Bitcoin and Pokemon. Which one is smarter to hold? Which one is going to last? Are we going to see Bitcoin at $1 million a Bitcoin? Are we gonna, well, we already saw Pokemon hit millions of dollars of Pokemon. You know, these are things like, can we relate 1 and 2? Are they relatable? Can we find some sort of middle ground? Anyways, guys, I really hope you enjoy these conversations. I know I do. And if you do, please leave a comment, a like, or drop a subscribe. Make sure to watch some of my other videos on my channel that revolve around Pokemon, collectibles, cars, just things that I find interesting. Maybe some challenges here and there. And I appreciate you guys very much for watching this video. I'll see you guys next time.